Welcome to Born for the Trades, a home service podcast. I'm your host, Mandeep, Bhalla, sitting next to my co-host, Shreya.
Hi, everybody.
And today we are here at Home Service Freedom event organized by one and only Tommy Mello. And we have amazing guests. His name is Cody Johnson.
You got my name right.
Join us as we dive deep into the world of home service entrepreneurship, interacting with industry leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs about their experiences, challenges, and victories. Through their inspiring stories, we hope to equip our listeners with the tools and knowledge they need to succeed in the competitive home service industry. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, tune in to Born for the Trades podcast for invaluable insight and real-world inspiration.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here. Thank y'all.
Awesome. A lot of good things happening with your business. You want to share what's going on with the garage doctor?
Yeah. So everything's going great. We were acquired by A1 back in June of this year.
Mhm.
So, and we really were, what helped us get to that point to be able to partner. So we were acquired, but we really partnered with them. What really helped us was the first Freedom event that he had back at the end of 21. And we were able to learn from Al Levy, Dan Antonelli, Joe Crisera, Jody Underhill, and many others, and Aaron Gaynor, saw him a minute ago.
Mhm.
We're able to learn from all of them and start implementing what we learned, what we were learning our best way that we could.
Right.
And, we went from, at the end of 21, we were, in our eyes, a successful company. We're 4 million revenue at the end of 21. And then through the end of 2022, we got to 8 million revenue.
Wow.
In basically a year, implementing what we were learning, getting the rebrand of from Dan Antonelli. And I was just talking to one of my friends at lunch. And I was like, he's like, what did Dan do for you? Well, he rebranded us, but we kept our name.
Right.
But the logo and wrapping the vehicles, and it just gave my guys a lot more pride to actually show up in a nice uniform and a nice wrapped vehicle. And it really was amazing for them. And then they could believe more in themselves. It helped them believe more in themselves. And of course, it's going to all pay for itself because the customers are going
Right.
to call us from the vans. It's a branding play. That obviously it's an infinite ROI.
Infinite ROI. First of all, congratulations on that acquisition.
Thank you.
And what are the changes that you have seen in your business after this acquisition?
After the acquisition, so we're still in the integration, so there's still some challenges in there. But what's really cool is I get to see, I would say, Tommy's interpretation of Al Levy's systems on steroids. You have now departments, but previously we didn't have departments. It was just like my dad or me or Ryan telling people what to do. And just like Al says, we all told people what to do in a different way. So
Right.
how could you possibly know how we wanted you to answer the phone when I tell you one way, Dad tells you the other way, and Ryan tells you a third way? And we're probably yelling at you. So, so we're able to see, Al Levy's systems, the best implementation I've seen from any trade out there. And like, there's departments and they control just that department. And,
Right.
and they specialize in just that. So, from my standpoint, it's a little difficult. I see the advantages to it. It's a little difficult for me to understand it at first. I always fight it and then I understand the why. And then I say, okay, this makes sense. And then I adapt. But it's working good. They were able to get us 8 vehicles within a week of acquisition. We were able to send like 17 guys to Phoenix to go back through training. So they're able to get the systems and the processes that they want done in service time. Also focusing back on sales. And then we do a virtual product specialist to sell the door, which
nice.
is the difficult part for my guys. Like in hindsight, it's a little bit difficult for them to do it because it's almost an ego thing.
Ego.
I would sell you the door
Mm.
and then I would install it. And now, no, you are still selling the door. They just have to understand it. I'm just putting Mandeep on the phone with you and he's helping guide us to the package that you want. And it's a little bit, from what I see from the guys, they wouldn't tell you this, but what I think they're seeing, my interpretation is it's almost an ego shot that it's not them selling it, but it is. They don't, they have to
Right.
understand
It's a
it.
huge
If
difference.
the customer is the connection to the technician.
Yes.
And if the technician just shuts it off and hands the phone over, you've lost that sell.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so once the guys understand it, they're going to win more. My brother did a really good job. I force fed him in September. I'm like, you're just going to do every door quote possible. And he did really good. He had like 133,000 in sales, on door sales, and then he had, I don't know, like another 50 grand in service. And he was also helping other guys, so it wasn't even a full month. I'm like, okay, but here's the important thing. I don't know how specific I can get, so I'll get generic. Generally, the average virtual product sells around 5,500. Ryan's was like 7,700. So I took an A+ player and I raised him almost 50%. He was the
Wow.
only guy on our team that was either at pace with Torch's average sell or slightly above it, and we're able to raise an A+ player that much higher. And so then, you know, I hope the rest of the guys see it. Now I understand, okay, no, this isn't just, you know, this definitely is a helpful thing for the business. And we're able to help more people have jobs, more installers, and obviously the Torch team and more infrastructure for it. So I hope the rest of the team understands that study that we did. I did make sure they understood it, so we'll see if they implement. So
I'm glad that you're bringing up the call by call structure as it relates to garage doors, because that's what I really know Tommy for, is pioneering that process for garage doors, right?
Yeah.
Because we've had that process in HVAC and plumbing, you know, at those bigger companies that we've known of, but he's the first one to really to do that. So it's interesting to hear that those are the processes that are being implemented. Al Levy, is it 7 Power contractor, just for reference, so everybody knows where to
Right.
go. And the call by call process where basically, yeah, you have a salesperson on Zoom, right, closing the bigger deals, and then you have the technician still out in the fields, but that person is assisting them on every call.
Yep.
And it's just a really consistent way to keep a process in place, because otherwise you're kind of just guessing what they could be doing out there, and you
Right.
never really know for sure.
I completely agree. It's consistent, like you said, and you know, the techs still are the eyes and ears. They're there. That Tommy calls them the Vanna White. So when the Torch guy says something, he's over there presenting it to the client. And but he's also the eyes and ears. When he sees the client flinch and the Torch guy can't pick it up in the tone or anything, because we're just on the phone right now. I haven't seen us do the Zoom yet.
Yeah.
You know, they're the eyes and ears, and that's what makes them sell. So they need to say, hey, we've got a question here. That should be that there's a clue
Right.
word that they need to use to say, shut it down. Let's go back and focus on these 1 or 2 packages and get this thing closed. And the guys that do it great, they're getting better. The guys that don't, you know, Mike Bailey from A1, he likes to call it, you know, will and skill, right? So the will is trying it. Let's do it. We can see how many reps you get at it. We can see that percentage. If it's low, then you don't have the will. And then if the close rate is low, but we're trying. So our leads are, let's say 10%, but our gross close is maybe 2%. Okay, then that's a skill. But we've got the will. The problem is if your will or your leads are at 2%, then you're not even trying. You're fighting the system, which then brings you back to an actual bona fide A1G sales, which is their sales process, which we didn't really have. Like we had some pieces, we just had them mixed up a little bit. So
Repeatable, consistent,
Yes.
specific garage door process in the
yeah,
field.
and which, you know, when you do that and you actually train a sales process, which you specialize in, I don't have to
Yeah.
tell you this, but when you actually train a sales process and you expect it to be consistent, you can then train more people, more green
Right.
people.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of times in the garage door industry, we all recycle, that's maybe a rude word to use, recycle used employees from other garage door shops. Whereas we do our best to hire from green, hire no experience,
Like
but
Tommy's known for,
Yes,
right? So even
exactly.
repeating that process of finding maybe a waiter that has excellent
Yeah.
customer service, doing a ride along and then training him from just straight green
Yeah.
pea. Right.
And you're just looking for energy, coachability, and, you know, competitiveness. And they have to have a willing to work. I mean, we have to have a great work ethic that should be
Right.
known. And really, that's how you can train a lot more people at a higher scale. We always did train from green. We do have a couple guys on the team that came from in the industry.
Mhm.
But you know, that was part, like, it was very hard for them to get through out of the interview. I'm actually very easy to get along with, but like I would challenge them continuously. Like I would keep
Yeah.
coming back. I'm a little worried that you're not going to be able to get this. And as a matter of fact, Caleb is in Phoenix right now training. And you know, like he did his research. He knew Tommy, he knew me.
Mm.
And and apparently I'm not hard to find on Facebook. But what I liked about it is like he could kind of see he was speaking the mindset. And I'm like, all right, are you researching us? He's like, yes, I did. So I'm like, all right, if you're smart enough to do that, you're gonna win. So, but it's just coming down to can you believe in the way that we want to achieve our jobs? There's many different, the problem in the garage door in any industry, there's 1,000 different ways to win, but you got to get consistent. So that way, when Caleb goes out, he'll treat the client the exact same way I would treat the client. Because that's what we want. McDonald's tastes the same in Phoenix as it does in Houston. And that's what we're
Right.
trying to strive for. And then, but then of course, we'll always study the ones that are winning a lot and then see, okay, maybe they've changed just a slight little thing and see if we can improve our game, of course. So,
Right. You guys crushed it like this year. And a lot of people like, they're talking about like economy. They talked about economy this year. What's your take on overall market and economy and what it looks like 2024? What's your take on that?
oh, we're going to grow. We're going to grow again. So end of 2022, we're at 8 million. End of 2023, we're on pace for 12 million. Hopefully
Wow.
we get over that. But also our profit is high. And it's all about profit. It's not really about revenue, but
Right.
assuming you have high profit, I don't see us slowing down at all. I mean, the machine's just now getting kicked in. That's really what I'm excited about partnering with A1 and Cortec is that, now we're going to turn on their marketing machine. They're not shy to spend money on marketing.
Right.
We were 5% marketing, and to us, that was a lot. We have a loyal base of customers, and that's why we were a good partner for them because, 5% marketing, you can bump that to 10%, take a lot more market share.
Yeah.
But then, implement what we're learning from A1 with A1G cells and then the torch process, the turnover process, which is, the 5 green lights.
Mhm.
And we're going to win, but business isn't going to slow down. We're going to grow.
Absolutely.
And it comes back to consistency and training.
Yeah.
That's the machine is on. I thought we had a pretty good one, but now it's going to get improved. And really like in the city of Houston and then eventually Texas, we're gonna take over as best as we can. There's no.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, are you going to take over the state or the entire country? So
Well, A1's gonna take over.
Yeah.
It's already all across the nation. So,
Right.
but yes, we're gonna grow. Hopefully the brand, it really, to me, I love Garage Door Doctor, but I love A1 too. I was their #1 fan, so
Right.
still am. So, no matter how rude I might be to Luke Martin sometimes, but he's the COO. Love you, Luke. Okay, so, but I'll tell you this, I've challenged them quite a bit, and we were kind of a big company for garage doors. We're a pretty big company, and they acquired us. They're able to get us more infrastructure with more trucks, the training. They're able to send. I mean, this is really cool. They're able to send like 12 to 15 awesome guys
Hmm.
to our city in a drop of a hat. Like
Wow.
Wow,
you would
that's-
think the planning's there. Well, when lawyers get involved, I mean, we don't know. You don't know when you're going to close. It may be
Yeah.
today, it may be tomorrow. It was always 2 weeks. Every week it was always 2 weeks,
Right.
and it's theirs and our lawyers, and it was really cool that they could just like have a team of guys that are willing to leave their family and friends, come over to Houston, work in 110-degree heat, and I tell you, and that's really, they were not aggressive. They were tenacious. They didn't give up. They went for no. Go for no. And that's really, to me, the work ethic and what they were willing to do. They got into a tough situation. Like the price book, the service time thing wasn't perfect. When you do
That's
when you kind of do the acquisition there's some challenges, right?
Right.
Not everything's geared up like it should be. And that's okay because it takes time.
Yeah.
And these guys were able to adapt and adapt to it and still win. And then my guys got out of training and there were still some issues on the service time price book. And they were able to still win. They had to get through the frustrations, of course. But that background noise.
I
do you hear
know.
that?
Sorry, we're
So-
at a live event, obviously, so it's lively right now.
It really, it was amazing for me to see, like, they didn't take as many zeros that their guys coming in. They would go and they would go out there and they're going to try to win no matter what, even if
Mhm.
they're sent to a warranty for us. And then my guys get back and they did the same thing.
Yeah.
I asked my guys, they didn't
Mm.
sign up for this, right? They didn't sign up to be sent to Phoenix for training. And everybody on the team went. We had a couple guys that stayed back so we can still fulfill our jobs. But everybody on the team that was asked went to Phoenix. They did the training. They committed fully to it. And then, they come back and they're still winning. And now we just got to work on not reverting, which is the downside of existing technicians is don't revert to the old way of doing business. Keep growing, keep winning. and keep adapting. Once you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as they
yeah.
preach in the training.
It seems training is a game changer. Don't take it lightly, guys. Yeah, make sure that you implement training, and it has to be done with consistency,
Yes.
right? That's gonna be game changer. A lot of people in garage door space, they are struggling. But when it comes to like annual revenue, where they are not able to grow after 1 million. What's the best advice you want to give to those guys who's are running garage door companies?
Well, so, earlier you're talking about the economy. A lot of times there's definitely a difficult level. To me, I think it's right there where you get to about 5 guys, 4 to 5 guys. That's where you can start taking yourself out of the truck. I was in the truck. Heck, I was in a truck a couple of weeks ago, still installing the door. But my dad and I were mainly in the truck until probably March and April of last year. Then I had to implement service time, and Dad was working more on the marketing. But what I find is the struggle is a lot of times they're trapped in the truck. We hear that. Now they don't have a choice because they don't have employees. So
Yeah.
what they got to do is they got to focus on marketing or partner with a good team. On the marketing side, someone they can trust and then hold accountable. Let's get the reports in. What's the calls? What are my revenue that you're generating me from these leads?
Right.
And then know the cost of acquisition or cost of the lead. A lot of these guys, they just hand it off and they say, here's your budget. And then they expect miracles to happen day one. That's not going to happen. And they don't know what to expect. And that's why they need to get with a good marketing team, but they need to understand it themselves. If you just fully trust somebody and not know how to hold accountable, they're going to lose or they're going to plateau. I would suggest a lot of times people are going to turn their marketing down this next year. And that's unfortunate because then that's how they go out of business. Unless they're hard-headed and they just stay in business forever, no matter what. But, to me, I would tell them, find a pathway to get out of a truck, focus more on the business. If you're in the truck, then you need to just work till 11 o'clock at night every night, which most of us do as owner operators.
Right.
But they need to focus not just on the physical work, they need to focus on building some sort of system, either Levy's. And right now I'd focus on marketing. Aaron Gaynor said this after the first vertical track event, the first freedom event we went to in 21. I'm like, I see everything that we need to do, branding, service time, training, hiring from Jody and all this stuff. What do I start with? And I did everything at first. Okay. But what he said is focus on the marketing. The marketing will direct you. A lot of times people want to be so proactive that they want to be so perfect that they don't do anything because it's never going to be perfect.
Right.
They need to be able to react to events. And Aaron Gaynor, he's like, just focus on the marketing. Marketing will tell you what to do. If you get so many calls, you can't answer it. You have to hire another CSR.
Right.
If you book so many jobs, you can't physically fulfill that, then you have to hire another guy to train.
Mm.
And then if you find like my marketing percentage is too high, 5 to 10, some people are at 15%. You really don't want to go over 15% for long unless you're just like greenfield all the way and you have a game plan there. But if your marketing is too high, then we need to look at moving our prices up. And that's hard because that's where it comes back to sales training. If all my revenue is on cheapest price,
Right.
Burning.
That's
for
where we
those
work.
leads, and it's less than what they're paying for the leads.
but we didn't know. And we
Yeah.
forget that when you do the work yourself, like when my dad or I was doing the work ourselves, well, okay, you can't, my profit is this. No, it's not. The technician of Vince Johnson or the technician of Cody Johnson got paid this. What did the owner get paid? Not enough.
Right.
The owner needs to be making a lot of money too. And that's how they're going to stay in business. And that's what motivates them to invest in their business. But, raise your prices, but do it, but you got to be able to deliver the service.
Deliver the
And
Yes,
that
it's
was
not for no
difficult.
reason. That's really important to say because a lot of people say raise your prices. It's like, no, because you're giving more service and value.
Right.
And that's what a price is.
Yeah, you have to
Right.
deliver. You have to deliver. So branding, sales training, consistency, marketing.
Yeah. And
Right.
it sounds like culture too, because
Right.
there's all that stuff. And with acquisition stories, usually there could be a lot of horror stories, right? It could be cold in that machine, but it sounds
Yeah.
like there's a warmth to this story that's very inherent.
I would say my guys are the most loyal guys there are. I'll say that, there's been enough challenges that A1 may have wanted to quit us and half my guys might want to quit them, but they're loyal. They believe in what they're doing and they do love it. Sometimes in the day, in the action, we may not enjoy the physical work, but they love what they do. And we work for a great company. We worked for a great company before and we work for an even better company now. And
Nice.
we're working on the work-life balance. I overwork the guys too much and We're just trying to gear up a few more guys so we can start backing down the schedule. And I think that'll be good. And also refocus them that we need to follow the sales process because maybe we're not working 6 days a week, we're working on 5.
Yeah.
And I
We don't
wonder,
need to do that to maximize the time. Yeah.
you know,
Balance
I do wonder, and Tommy and Luke, they preach this, and I wonder if they're right. They haven't been wrong yet, even though how much I fight them. You know, I do wonder that, you know, if I don't have that 6th day to make my paycheck, that will I perform better in 5? You probably will. You'll be well rested. You know, the sense of urgency will be there instead of saying, oh, I get the next job, the next job. That's the other issue.
Yeah.
Everybody always has their guys doing 8 jobs a day.
Yeah.
There might be a weird day that a guy does 6 or 7, but our goal is like 3 to 4, maybe 5.
Perfect.
That's
We're on the same
perfect.
page
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Take your time. Like I do ask the dispatcher to help the tech. If they see the guys go to, let's say a renter that's not authorized to do anything and they're just wasting your time. They lied to the CSR. I'm the homeowner, but I'm not. You know, I'll ask the dispatcher, talk to the tech. Let's make sure we take care of them. Let's get them 4 legitimate opportunities.
Yeah.
If they want more, let them ask. If they want less, then they need to at least capture what they have.
Totally.
And, you know, I ask for that. And most days, thankfully, the city of Houston's been good to us and they call us continuously. So we got the work if we want it. So
I love that. Well,
That's
congratulations on
Thank you.
everything. This is like such a success story and we're really excited to see what else happens after, you know, things go at bay and the machine is fully in work and we'll have you back on to update everybody.
oh,
if you're open to
it's
it.
gonna work great. Look at Victor there.
You gonna Hop in or what?
it's gonna be amazing. I think we will have you, I think, on our show one more time. But thank you for the listeners. This is going to be amazing. Event is amazing. I know those who have missed it, make sure that you don't miss next year event. And thank you, Cody, for coming on our show. It was very insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. This is fun. Thank you.
Appreciate it.